out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California has won the big game. 5 seconds left in the game. You believe in miracles? Yes!
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a new river thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big dog sports talk, lighten up the dark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint. Calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the fields, the stories unfold. Rick's play-by-play, worth its weight in gold. With a laugh and a growl, he'll pull you in. Big Dog's podcast, let the games begin. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big Dog Sports Talk, lighten up the dark.
Hey, good morning. It's Tuesday here on the program. See how it says Hello Tuesday? Hence, it's Tuesday.
Sports Talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone,
How's everybody doing?
every day,
Good morning.
from the Hokies
Good morning,
to the
Stephen. Good morning, T-Bird.
got the spark, Big Dog Sports
Hope everybody's doing all right.
lighten up the dark. Big Dog Sports,
Marvin in Miami comes up today. It's 35. Then we're going to have
Rick's in the zone,
Ryan Siegela,
every day,
Battery Corner
from the Hokies
podcast,
to the Highlanders.
and then Mike Burnham.
Got the spark, Big Dog Sports Talk, lighten up
Hit us
the
up
dark.
in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room. Also hit us up on the Professional Door Incorporated text line, whichever way you decide to do it. There we go. And I know people want to hear the song all the way through, so therefore we play the song all the way through. All right, how's everybody doing today? We've got we got thunderstorms. I was awakened right around 4. Loud cracks of thunder. We had some lightning. Now we've got a steady rain, not necessarily a torrential downpour, but we've got rain. And I haven't even really looked at the forecast. It's going to rain most of the morning. Clear out around 10. Temperatures today won't get above 65. Okay. All right. Late April 2026. So hopefully all the electrical activity has subsided because, all it takes is one crack, especially here, and then all of a sudden, you're gone. You're gone. By the way, if that ever happens, I will go on and post something on the Facebook page, and I also can post something on the channel page via my phone, just like on the message board. It'll tell you that we're out of power, nothing we can do. It's going to happen at some point, right? It's inevitable. So just know that if we ever have an extended period of time where connection is lost, either you lose everything, you don't see the picture, or I'm gone. It's either electricity or the intraweb has failed. And if we lose one of those during the show, we've been fortunate so far since August that hasn't happened. But if that happens, oops, not a whole lot we can do. Yeah, go get your bread and milk. From our witness deep throes of a Mendoza Pass, why doesn't the agency learn to recruit out of the portal and get off their ass? BDST is live and online. It's interesting stuff going on. The NCAA pounding its chest because it looks like they're going to go forward by implementing the five years to play rule, which is common sense. It's not like it's anything groundbreaking. They released several things yesterday. It's probably the one aspect of this out of control era of pay for play that we're in that they can control. So they want to go ahead and do that. And, we all agree with it. It's not like anybody's, I think, going to fight it. Good morning, Prometheus. You should only have 5 years. You shouldn't be able to play until you're 25 and make, inordinate amount of money, keep going to the NCAA and appealing and all that. So looks like that's going to come down. I don't know what that's going to look like going forward. But again, it's nothing groundbreaking. It's common sense. And the NCAA has such a lack of common sense that when it does something that makes sense, they go, wow, look at that. Huh. We're going to do something that nobody's going to fight us on. So we'll see how all that goes down and when it's officially announced that it happens. But whenever you see one of those comments, and, Charlie Baker's just a puppet. He doesn't do anything as the NCAA president. He's just a guy they parade out there. He made a statement. I feel really strongly that the conversation is headed in a positive direction. So therefore, we are going to. In other words, yeah, it's going to pass because they probably got their lawyers saying, all right, can anybody litigate us? So what you're going to have now, if there is litigation, is former players or, I don't know, somebody who felt like they were eligible, they're going to be suing now. I doubt the suits are done, but those are silly. Anyone with any common sense should say, hey, 5 years is enough. You're there plenty of time. Plenty of time. Morris says, pollen, dudes and dudettes by noon, our vehicles are dusty orange. So I'm fortunate. I don't have any allergies like that. Is pollen worse this year for all of you that suffer? Has it gotten off to that kind of start? And how much of a break does this week's weather provide, right? We're going to have mid-60 temperatures, lots of rain all week, things like that. Does that change it? I guess it does, right? I guess common sense would tell you it does. So we have that from the NCAA. Again, okay, good. Yay, you did something. By the way, Marty and Rags will be next week. Coach had to have some minor surgical procedure in his mouth or something, so he didn't want to force it. So he's going to be back. They're going to be back next week. So the thing that is disturbing is that Texas Tech quarterback, did you see this? Brendan Sorsby, who signed for a lot of money, is going to be taking a leave of absence from college football because of an admitted gambling addiction that's coming from the school. So it's a gambling addiction that he is saying that he has, and it's gone back a long way, a long, long way. So he's taken the leave of absence. He has made thousands of online bets on a variety of sports via the gambling app or one of the gambling apps. I guess there's not the gambling app. And the NCAA is investigating Sorsby's gambling, whatever the hell that means. The NCAA forbids athletes from betting on college sports, yet they invite college sports. They invite the apps that provide college sports games to bet on, to sponsor their games and so forth. Sorsby was at Cincinnati after 2 seasons. He signed a pay-for-play deal, so $6 million to go to Texas Tech. Threw 27 touchdowns, 2,800 yards. He also played at Indiana from 22 to 23, and that's when he said that he bet a lot. Said he bet on Indiana football during the 22 season. So this goes back a long way, and this isn't to make light of his situation in any way, shape, or form. An addiction is an addiction, but for what I took out of this was maybe he felt like the walls were closing in a little bit. And he's doing this because, well, maybe some things are going to come to light. But I'm also wondering if this is happening with a guy who's making $6 million a year. And maybe, like I said, and this is probably going to be inevitable, this was going to come out. Maybe he felt like that was going to cost him his contract. I don't know. I don't know what Texas Tech is going to do about this. They say they're going to support Sorsby through the recovery process, but they didn't announce any timetable for his return. And I can't imagine they're just going to say, okay, well, let's get back to your $6 million contract. And this doesn't mean he's a bad person, but I'm just wondering if we're seeing this out of a kid who obviously was really good at his position, one of the top in the country to transfer. He was one of the guys that a lot of schools went after because he's a good quarterback. How much of this, it goes back to what we said, how much of this is going on a daily basis, weekly basis? Remember the NCAA, how stupid they were when they said, hey, we're going to allow athletes to gamble, but can't gamble on college sports. Then they reneged on that when they got so much pushback. What sense did that make? So then they finally said, no, we're going to rethink that a little bit. So now you can't bet again. Just shows you what a joke of an organization that they are. He can return to football, but he can be ruled ineligible at this point. And I can't imagine Texas Tech's just going to say, ooh, I know we have more money to burn. We like to show people how much money we're spending on our program, but come on back, you guy who compromised maybe your team and your performance by betting. I mean, 10,000 bets, that's a lot. So the NFL supplemental draft is an option, but then again, is it? No schools facing allegations of violations because it's just an individual investigation, the NCAA announced. So we'll see what happens here. I think it's interesting. He's the highest profile college player to come out and say, hey, I've got a problem. And I think this is just a symptom of a massive, massive problem that's going on in college sports. guys who aren't getting their bag are figuring out other ways to, or getting that kind of bag, or figuring out other ways to supplement their income. And of course, I think one of the easiest things they feel like they can do with insider knowledge is bet on these games. But if you're signed on to be the quarterback for $6 million, and now this comes out after that, probably means that there was going to be, he had probably been tipped off, he and his people, that, we're going to go ahead and release this. So we'll see. Cincinnati's not commenting on it. Obviously, he's not there anymore. And how many more players were involved? Did he bring anybody with him? They're going to investigate, see how wide range this was. Was it limited to just the one guy? But for anyone to walk around on two legs and go, boy, this is just an outlier. I'm sure we don't have a problem. I mean, wake up. I mean, yeah, T-Bird, you're right. The NCAA's decisions foster this similar dysfunctional behaviors. No question. No question. We were told that there's watchdogs all over this, right? We keep getting told that the folks, the agencies that have been hired by, the NCAA or whatever, are some of the best in the world. They're going to track it. We don't hear anything. It's like, why? It almost seems to me, maybe it's just me, it just feels like there's this massive, no matter if it's the NCAA, whether it's college sports, whether it's the NBA, remember all that broke right at the start of the season? The massive fraud, the cheating, the point shaving, games being thrown, missing shots. Several players were just completely listed, right? They just listed 5 or 6 of them. They were implicated in the whole thing. And it just went away. Why? And the league goes on now in its postseason. Like, we're not. But this is a problem that's not just Sorsby's. This is going on so many spots. I mean, it's going on in Blacksburg. It's going on in Charlottesville. It's going on at any school, Georgia, Alabama, anybody you want to name. It's a massive problem. So he goes to the supplemental draft. What's that going to matter? I mean, is an NFL team going to want that? Remember Art Schlichter, the former Ohio State quarterback? He's the first guy I always think of. That was back in, the 80s? The Colts, right, drafted him, and he was involved heavily in gambling on everything, including his team's games and so forth. But this all goes back to something we've talked about. I've written about it in the Patriot. They invited all this in. It just shows you that no matter what we're told, no matter what anybody tries to say about upholding any integrity, it's always about money. People will do anything to get money. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's at your workplace, whether it's something like this. People are always going to try to get theirs. And the NCAA and college sports and the networks and ESPN, they realized there were multi-millions of dollars to be made from these rich casinos and these apps that have millions of subscribers that put on millions of bets. They allowed it in. They were unapologetic about allowing it in. They even said, hey, they felt so obligated to their sponsors. They were probably getting pressure from some of their sponsors. What they did was say you could bet, but we don't want you to bet. We don't want you to bet on college sports, but you can bet on everything else. And are they going to be surprised? Where's the information? Like, I'm sure that they already have other athletes that have been caught gambling. I'm sure there's a wide range of it. So what are we waiting on now? Is maybe this will bring forth more information? I don't know. But this all goes back to all we want as fans is for our stuff to be real. We want the games to be legitimate. And I've said this a lot. You actually now, no matter what the result, you have to sit there and think, did I see anything that looked suspicious? Do these results, are they really on the up and up? We talk about it a lot with the way some of these NFL things go, and NBA got pegged. Now you got a kid who's making $6 million coming out and saying he's got a gambling addiction. How much naturally did you, if you can control it, right? If you bet a lot of money and you have a gambling addiction and you can control that bet because you're involved in that game, you're almost assured to be a winner. How much of that do you think goes on that's been undetected or has gone on throughout? I think this is a major problem. We know now, you can't watch Access Media News. You can't watch any of this stuff because none of it's legit. It's all driven by agenda. Nobody's trying to do anything but brainwash the, people who want to buy into whatever they want to say. Are our sports legitimate? Are they? I don't know. Those of you that donate lots of money to these universities and these see, this is another thing that you have to think about, another layer. Virginia Tech comes out a couple weeks ago and says, hey, we had a record year, but we're already behind. We need more. I mean, did you go quickly grab your checkbook, or is this kind of be the kind of thing that makes you go, let me hang on for just a little bit here. What am I donating to exactly? I mean, that question was there before this, but now, is it real? You think it happens less in professional sports because there's already millions of dollars being earned because of the contracts, right? I mean, you would think professional athletes would say, okay, cool. I don't know, whatever your deal might be, $3 million a year, 3 to whatever it is, higher numbers. I don't need to worry about doing any betting. I've got plenty of money. I'll just invest it, or I'll get interest on it, find the best bank to hold it in, whatever. But college athletes who are now semi-pros for the most part, since they're getting paid at the highest level of sport in college football and basketball in particular. But there's not everybody, not all of them are getting the same. And, people will say that the kids don't pay attention to that, but I know they do. I experienced it down at Radford. I mean, you could hear kids talking about what certain guys were making and what they were making. This is something that it's a silly, it's almost insanity what we've created, what's been created because of the lack of action by people in charge over the many, many years. It really is. So I don't know. But we'll see what comes out of the investigation. And I still believe we're going to get a major bombshell at some point. I don't know the timetable at this point. I still feel like we're going to get a major bombshell from a massive investigation, kind of like what we did from the feds with the NBA to start their season. I feel like we're going to find something out at some point sooner than later. Like the NFL is going to have a it just feels like something's going to happen here soon. Maybe I'm wrong, but we'll see. But There you go. That's a story that's not going to go away. And I would think it would make schools hesitate a little bit. Now, I mean, what kind of background checks can you do? I would think you can. I know whenever we hire somebody at Radford, you have to do background checks. I mean, it's a state requirement. So now when you're bringing in a quarterback or a player for $3 to $4 million a year, it's time to do full background checks, legal background checks. Do they qualify for this now? I mean, you've got to protect that investment if you're the school, don't you? It's going to be interesting. I don't understand what happened. Yeah, exactly, Prometheus. What happened to the NBA thing? I mean, we had guys throwing games. We had guys missing shots. We had guys allowing players to score. You're the thing that just goes to the heart of the credibility of your whole sport was being compromised. I don't know if we ever saw any kind of official explanation from Adam Silver or not. Where did that go? And how much of that's going on now in the playoffs? How is that simply just forgotten? How did that not affect your bottom line? How did that not affect? Why wasn't more people concerned? Well, you know what happens when something like this happens and people don't raise a ruckus? It's because they know either they're involved or they know how widely rampant that it is. That's the only conclusion you can draw. All right. You get appalled by something that happens that is such an anomaly that just disgusts you in human behavior, right? Because it shouldn't be going on. The only thing I can think of is that for the NBA in particular, the fact that nothing else has really come out. And I know there's going to be trials and so forth, and maybe under discovery we'll find out more. That makes me think they're working really hard to try to control this as much as possible. But what did anyone think was going to happen, especially with college athletes? We always talk about their immaturity, how to handle all these millions of dollars. They can't handle it. They don't understand the irresponsibility that comes with being that young. We all went through it. But to sit there and have betting apps. I mean, you think about what ESPN did. They since have reneged and canceled because they got so much criticism and backlash. They created something called ESPN Bet. They would advertise it at every game. It would scroll at the bottom of it. They would put it was, but yet, hey, nobody bet. We don't want any betting. We don't want any betting. No. But hey, by the way, at halftime, why don't you go to ESPN Bet and see how it works? Or check out the DraftKings app. Go to the Caesars betting app, Caesars Sportsbook. But remember, we don't want any of our athletes to bet. The state of humanity, right? How was that ever going to be something that was going to be logical? It never was. And then when they tried to say, hey, yeah, you're fine to bet on pro sports. I mean, this was actually an order sent by the NCAA, what was about a year ago. They've had to take it back. But they said, hey, pro sports are fine. We just don't want you doing college sports, okay? Okay, just promise us. Will you promise me that? Like talking to your 3-year-old not to put their hand back in the cookie jar. Now I gotta go shopping. Mom's got to go do some, whatever it is. Got to go pick up your brother. I don't want you to eat this, okay? Speaking of chronic concerns, am I the only person uncomfortable with the fact that almost every mom and pop convenience store that gets sold today is bought by a person at Middle Eastern? Is that true? I thought you were going to complain about the big box stores. Used to be a joke on The Simpsons, not now. I know one thing. Yeah, the mom and pop stores those were such a massive, and I do mean massive part of everybody's community growing up. The friendly store, whether it was I don't know, not necessarily a department store, home supplies, whatever it might be, right? If you need screws and nails, whatever it might be, go to the hardware store owned by the McKinsey family. Go see, come by the store afterwards. We'll get you set up. Things like that. I do miss that. There's not as many of those, clearly. But you do miss that. You do. But yeah, that's not as rampant anymore. Not as rampant anymore. Professional Door text line, people talking about gambling. Appreciate that. I like this one. No name to it, and I appreciate it. Saw that about Sorsby. Look, I gamble. I gamble quite a bit. I don't feel like I have a problem. I know when to stop. I know my financial limits. But I'm also not naive to think that this is not going on rapidly throughout the sports that I myself am putting my money on. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, look, and nobody's judging you. If you're putting wagers on stuff, nobody's judging you. It's legal. It's legal. That's not what this is about. So I don't want anybody to think that. So I hope it didn't come across that way. This is talking about guys making $6 million as a quarterback of a Power 4 team. And it goes way, way back, man. It goes way, way back. Want to thank the NRV Super Bowl. It's going to be the site of our future bash, the BDST bash. Reserve your weekend lanes, 5403-8255-25 today, 25 years. Part of the community. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply goes back further than that, almost 30 years for them. 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg, parts for your home, 5403-818011. That's what I love about sponsors of this show. So many folks are local community people, like Family Fencing. Sponsor of our studio, get a free quote. 540-200-8294. Mark Hunley over on Walters Drive in Christiansburg. McClellan Chiropractic, sponsor of our chat room, the absolute best. Nobody does local, but is now starting to branch out into regional and even national than Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment, our presenting sponsor. But again, taking the local slant and getting everybody else's communities involved. That's what they're all about. Little River Heating and Air, local community. Charles Lee serving his community. 540-553-2971. The attorney Ryan Pry, he's in Radford community. West Main Street in Radford. Trust and estate planning. BDST fan question of the week. We got to come up with a good one. We don't have a good one yet. National Bank member FDIC, a local bank or regional bank now. Banking partner of this program. The exclusive banking partner, Travis Williams, Dublin, Professional Door Incorporated, residential commercial garage doors, 38 years in business. His dad started it. Ready Set Fund helps all the local communities and their teams if you need money. Reach out to Bob Christ, BOBCRST11 at Gmail. Sundown Electric in Elliston, serving the region. Long list of satisfied clients, superior craftsmanship, their detail, communication, honest, you name it. That's what they're all about. We thank them so much. Top Shelf Apparel, Brandon, in Dublin, and I guess Pulaski. Local, thank you. Means a lot. Means a whole lot. Yeah, it's going to be done in August, Prometheus. It's on schedule to be done in August. So you're looking at just a few months, about 4 months away. On schedule and ready to go, man. 165 square feet. I always do that. 165,000 square feet. Unbelievable. Ebo says, I couldn't win the lottery if you gave me the numbers, so I'm sure as hell not going to gamble. Yeah, you could have me too. You could have the 6 numbers and still mess it up. Well, that's me. Yeah, that's me. We'll talk to Marva about this some. She's down there in a major metropolis that is Miami. Lots of pro sports teams, a lot of money being thrown around the Canes program. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be something that's openly spoken about amongst the schools, amongst the community, at least with the community. But man, how much of this now? I mean, it just at some point doesn't everything? Do you just not sometimes just want to throw your arms up and just go, "What's the point?" Everything seems like a lie. That's a good idea, Stephen. Get a backup generator company, solar company, sponsors. We could have their, yeah, that'd be great. Problem is, if the internet goes down, the generator won't bring that back. It'll put the box back on, but until the internet's fixed by the company, yeah. But don't you ever just feel like that everything is just dishonest? Everything's sideways. It's what it feels like sometimes. I mean, the Vrabel things, it goes back 6 years, and the way he knows he's going to skate, so he's just kind of almost laughing about it now. There's no repercussions today for actions as much as there needs to be. Tangent Outfitters, that'd be great. I don't know who that is, but they'd be great. Tell them to come join us. We've got a great relationship with our sponsorship supporters. I know they've gotten a lot of great reaction from being on the program, and that's what it's all about. I generally want to see them succeed. So that's great. Great stuff. But I just, there's no, as long as you either go with the current agenda, what's allowed and what's not allowed in the cancel culture, whatever. Yeah, everybody says Starlink's good. I need to look into that. How much is that, Prometheus? I need to look into that. Back country in Christiansburg. Well, yeah, I could reach out to them. It'd be great if they're community driven. That's what, when I talked to the Smiths with Sundown, I mean, they're such a massive community place. That's what it's all about, man. Serving your community and helping people. What's up, Official King? Official King? Or official? Yeah, it's close. I'm close. Good to see you, man. They started years ago in Radford at Bissett, renting tubes and Kyles. Now they're based in Pembroke. Okay. Backcountry is a distribution center. Okay. Hey, we've picked up a couple of sponsors by word of mouth by our audience. So, yeah, let me know. Let me know. All right, Marba's going to be with us a little late today. I understand. She's got a house full of youngins. Okay, Marba's going to join us at 6:50. Appreciate her taking the time to let me know. So she'll be with us here in just a little bit. You buy the unit for $300, and then it's $100 per month. Okay, I have to look into that. Starlink. That's the Elon Musk system, right? So I'll look into that. I will. Did they have local folks that come and put it in? Is there local representation? If that's a stupid question, I apologize. I just don't do they have folks who come and give you all your stuff? Or is that something you just order and you just set it up yourself? I mean, either way, if you can set it up yourself, that's ideal. But I do have, it's been great. It's been great. Oh, you install it yourself. Okay. All right. Okay. We can do that. We can do that. Hell, I figured out YouTube. I can figure out Starlink. But I do worry about that. I think the most internet's been off here for any length of time has only been there's been a couple times it's went out and stayed out most of the day, but it's never been gone beyond that. But if that happens during the show, we're done. I mean, if there's no internet connection, we're done. So just assume that one of two things happens if we just go blackout for a show in the middle of it. The power is gone, or I've lost internet, which means if the power goes out, you're going to lose internet. But there have been many times the power stays on and then the internet is gone. And that happens, I think, for just about anyone. But I may have to look into the Starlink thing. Yeah, I'm going to have to look into that. May not be a bad solution. So anyway, getting back to the gambling thing, very concerned, obviously. I think it's going on all over the place. I do. What's true? There is a third option. Wayne's right. Rick has left the country because Selma finally came knocking on the door. That would be one of those where she just knocked on the door and sort of said, "Hey, Rick, I was wondering." Yes. Don't finish the sentence. Yes. Can I go 5 minutes to go pack a bag? Let's go. If BDST goes off the air, the world will shut down. Oh, well, I appreciate that, but no. I don't think that'll happen. But we do have a nice community here. We do. Very nice community. Please subscribe, like, and share the channel. Yeah, that would be the other way. Yeah, that's true. That would be immediate. But then I would just set it up wherever we would go, like wherever we settled in. Then I'd just reboot it there. Like put up a notice on the channel. We are going under a new developmental process here on the program. Give us 2 weeks. I would finish off my adult working career as Selma's houseboy. Absolutely. 100%. It's easy. Easy answer. Would that even be work? I don't think it would even be work. Yeah, there'd be a lot of it would be a lot of poolside shows. Yeah. Just have the phone up as I'm kicked back. So what's going on in sports, everybody? Let me know. Yeah, I could see that being the case. Trying to see if anything's broken here. Like anything else just come out about all this, you check X for the latest news and no, it's kind of sitting there. What gets me too is all this comes out, right? And here's how ESPN is just really quiet. Just like they were about Vrabel. They're just such a joke. I mean, especially there's just no credibility. There's just no you would think those would be stories. It used to be the kind of thing they would represent, stories that affected what was going on in the sports they covered, which is how they built their whole reputation. Then Disney came by and said, well, hold our beer. We're going to do this now. Those things should be made. This should be a major talking point. They should have serious conversations. If they cared about any of it at all, how much will be talked about today? I wonder on all those horrible shows. I mean, when do they bring out the Nick Sabans of the world to talk about college gambling instead of his inane ramblings about, athletes being paid and things like that? I don't know if there is. We'll ask Marva. Marva is legitimately the last real news person I worked with. Always took the time to get it right. Like I would think this would be something that would be such a concern about sports gambling, and Sorsby made $6 million. And now he's got a problem. He's doing his check. And look, I'm not going to belittle anyone's addiction, whatever it might be. Whatever it might be, I'm not going to belittle that. I know we probably don't look as gambling as a major thing like other addictions, but it is, especially if you lose a lot of money and it leads you to think about harming yourself. I mean, it can lead to other things. Rick would follow Salma to Antarctica, I think. Yeah, but she wouldn't choose Antarctica. She was born in Mexico, and she's used to the warmer climates. Yeah. It's just another way we link up, we both like warm and hot weather. We don't like the cold. It's one of the many things that we share together. Our affinity for the warmer months and the warmer environments. Oh, now Marva's saying 6:55. I get the feeling Marva's got her hands full this morning, but we will have her. We will. A late Marva is better than no Marva. What's up, Hot Rod? Come on down to Myrtle. Practice starts in a week. Yeah, come see Hot Rod. Rodney Landreth, my former quarterback at Pulaski County High School, great football coach. Those were the days, man. Weren't those the days, Hot Rod? It's amazing how one thing you sit back now as you get a little older, you think back, your kids are grown and doing their own thing. And I still have one in school, but in college. But the problems we think we used to have and how little that they are compared to everything that goes on now on a daily basis. And I know that's part of growing up, maturity. But, man, you go back to those days. Like, who all's going to be at the sock hop? Do I have a shot to talk to that girl that I really like? Things like that. And then you get older. And here comes the real world. That's why we fall into things that distract us from all these responsibilities. But you see, the real world now has completely encapsulated sports, our outlet. I mean, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't your outlet too. And now, look at what we have to deal with all the time, right? Just all the time. It's crazy. It's just crazy. But I do believe that there's going to be a scandal that's going to be revealed here very, very soon. Very, very soon. And I think the NFL, you haven't heard much from Goodell at all. Like he's just kind of. It's funny you say that, Matthew. The downfall of society began when malls started to die. Yeah, there's an Instagram account that's retro 80s, and it's funny you say that. In the last couple of weeks, they've just been showing like footage of the mall, what malls look like in the mid 80s, late 80s, whatever. And they were absolutely packed. And you're 100% right, man. You just go to the mall. What are you doing this weekend? Oh, we're going to go to the mall. Just going to go to the mall, man. We're going to go to the mall and hang out. Come back after we leave the mall. We don't need to go anywhere else. We're going to the mall. Movie theaters there. The food's there. We got stores there. Friends are there. We're going to go to the mall. The malls are gone. Yep. Yeah, Tech got a commitment yesterday from a Elon player that didn't play much and averaged under 5 points. Saw that. I guess they're hoping maybe that because he's apparently, he shoots a lot of threes and that's what he's best at. Maybe he'll develop into that. Doesn't give you great vibes about the amount of money that's available, does it? No knock against the kid at all. I'm not trying to knock the kid at all. But yeah. Ned Hall. I want to make sure I got his name right. Ned Hall. But he hit 2 threes against Tech in Blacksburg. By the way, I keep seeing all these posts, and they were making rampant yesterday about who would be a great candidate as the athletic director. I'm like, why are you posting about the athletic director spot when the president hasn't been hired? In other words, there's no candidate list for an athletic director because the president hasn't been hired. Anyway, there she is. Better late than never. Miss Marvy. I'm guessing you had your school this morning?
Well, my daughter has a special program at school this morning. So she had to dress up to go to school.
Sweet.
So it required my help. And I was helping and I'm looking at the clock. I got to go. And so it's a little bit stressful. I actually thought about canceling this week. I said, no, we can do this. But next time I will tell you.
I appreciate it. Well, listen, if you have to go, I understand. If you have to pop. What time does their program start?
Well, the program, it's a whole thing, Rick. The program is not until 8:00, but it's just had to leave early, had to be dressed up, had to have regular clothes to change into after the dress up event. It was a lot.
Are you going to the program?
Yes, I'm going.
Okay. Is she
So
singing
after I
and
leave
stuff?
here, I'm going, yes.
She dancing? She singing? What's she
Oh,
doing?
no. It's she is
Acting?
being no, nothing like that. She is being inducted into the National Junior Honor Society. So it's a big deal.
Hey,
Yes, I'm happy, very
congratulations.
proud. Yeah.
Hey.
So
Well, that's awesome.
yes, thank you.
Yeah. Is she excited?
Oh,
She's
she's
pretty
excited.
excited?
You know, she was asking me about how do I curtsy because they're supposed to curtsy. I'm like, they didn't tell you how to do that.
Ooh, yeah.
So
How do you curtsy? Is that just like when you
well,
pull the
you put one of your legs behind the other, you put your arms out. It's like a thing that girls and women do. So that's probably why you've never done it.
they
Boys
pull?
always
That's
bow.
right. You're right. They used to pull their dress
Out to the side. And
yeah. Okay.
so I don't know why we're still doing that. But
I
whatever.
don't either. But that's good. Well, congratulate. Well, if you need to go, let me know. That's all.
Thank
That's
you.
all. That's right. Somebody said, "Great work, Mom." There you go. It's all because of the
Aw,
upbringing.
thank you.
It's all because of the upbringing. Absolutely. I mean, I don't know Dad
Well,
personally.
it's about academics and it's also about service and character. So we do stress those things. So
Well, you're big with the character. I know that. I mean, I haven't met the husband because I know you'd be very jealous of my relationship.
oh my
with
gosh,
him,
I am not going to do a curtsy, Wayne.
right? You don't want to introduce me to your husband because you know how close we would become
No,
pretty
that's
quickly.
not true. You just haven't met. You know, he's a little bit jealous though because he wants to come on here and have a cowboy segment. And I
Well,
told him
we
that's
can do
not
that.
gonna fly.
We can do that.
Yeah, I mean he would be prepared today. He's like, you want to break down the draft. Cowboys had a great draft, and I was like, nobody cares. No, I know that's not true. I know that Cowboys Nation, they care a lot.
Yeah.
But
I
the
didn't
rest
see
of us, we don't care.
I didn't see where Wayne asked you to curtsy.
No, I am not doing a curtsy. I really had to go through that this morning. I'm not doing
Good stuff. That's awesome, though. Congratulations. That's great.
Thank you, Wayne.
That's great.
Appreciate
That's
it.
great. That's great. So what, let me ask you, I was telling people, and, we have things now going on in the world, but in sports in particular, like, and I say this in all seriousness, you're like one of the most dedicated and talented news people I ever worked with. And you always want to make sure things were right. Everything,
Right.
You wanted to get the news out there quickly, but I remember you going back and you'd be fact checking, well, today, what when you sit back as somebody who was formerly in that and you did it professionally for such a long time, what concerns you the most now with how news is just things are like this thing from a sports perspective, like Vrabel, everybody just kind of that thing's going away. This Sorsby thing, I think, is huge. This kid just admitted he's getting $6 million from Texas Tech. Well, he's going to go to rehab because he's been gambling on college sports for 4 years.
Rick, I know you want to talk about the news, but this gambling thing, that really concerns me a lot.
Me too.
People talk about the integrity of the game, but even beyond that, of course, the integrity of the game is important, but people ruining their lives because people get addicted to it.
100%.
And especially young people who don't really, because they make it so easy. Like,
oh, yeah.
I mean, these commercials are on constantly. I hate that my kids even know these commercials because we live not too far from the Hard Rock Casino, and the commercials are on constantly, and they're so fun, and they make it look like it's a lot of fun. And I know for some people it can be. It's like, I put $20 down, whatever, I win, I lose, whatever.
Yeah.
But for some people, I guess it's just like alcohol. Like some people can take a drink, they're fine. Other people, they don't stop, they pass out. So I am very worried about the impact on young people and this whole gambling thing. And I think it should be tightened. I mean, I'm really not a fan of it at all, but I know it's never going away again. But what can be done to tighten it to especially protect young people within sports, but also young people outside of sports who, kids are, whiling away their scholarship money.
Yep.
Kids are, and then when they get in trouble, it starts the mental health breakdown because what am I going to do? How am I going to tell my mom and my dad that I've done this? And so I don't know exactly what the answer is, but I just wish that someone would work on this, figure out a way to at least protect the kids. I mean, there are adults who need protection too, but let's focus on the kids first because it's just out of hand.
It's out of hand.
It's like when it started and now we have these scandals. we have these scandals because we have legalized this. And again, I know that Jenny's not going back into the bottle, right? They're not going to prohibit it now. They've opened it up. But is there something that could be done? Some controls to be put in place just to help young people? Because I was really disturbed to see that. I mean, I feel for that kid because he just fell into something he wasn't ready for. And he, like I said, can be an addictive thing. And every time you watch the commercials, of course, they always say, if you have a problem, call this number.
I know. Here's a disclaimer. Thanks.
Nobody's going to call that number. I mean, usually without some help till they hit rock bottom, right? They lose it all. And then they're going to realize, I'm really in trouble. And so it's very upsetting to me. And I hate that we opened that door. I really do, but I just don't feel like it's going to close again because there's so much money to be made. But it's
like the EA thing. It's like it started out the year. It was the first story of the year, right? Oh my goodness.
Big scandal. Yeah.
Where did it go? Well,
I mean, there's still things happening. I saw some report about it the other day that it how the wheels of justice turn slowly. But the thing is, some of these games that people were doing are, not like the high profile. I just feel like once you are gambling, I mean, we've seen this like in college, people are gambling on like small schools. People aren't even thinking about them. I said, when you're putting a bet down on like a D3 school, whatever, I mean, it's just, what are you doing? You have to question what's going on in my life.
They think they're hiding. I think they think they're hiding. Oh, we'll do it on this. Nobody will notice.
Nobody's going to pay attention to this. Yeah. But yeah, it's a sad situation. I mean, it goes all back to the money though, right? For some people, there's a lot of money to be made, right? So yeah.
I know.
But I mean, you've got kids in high school now who are somehow getting funds and doing this, and then parents don't find out until
somebody else is doing it for them. Yeah. The ones who are under 18 are getting somebody else to do it for them. That's exactly right.
I mean, I guess we talked about like alcohol. Teenagers forever have been getting older teens. I mean, not older teens, but like young adults to buy alcohol for them forever.
Yeah.
But we've done things to try to stop this. And I remember when I was reported a story about kids who looked young would try to go and see if they could purchase alcohol or cigarettes. Because they were the kids were trying to see if they get merchants in trouble for selling without checking IDs like they're supposed to. And I don't know if we need to have some people going undercover. I really don't know what the answer is. I mean, I need people who studied this to see what can we do to keep this from happening, because this is devastating.
I think so. There's a watchdog in college sports, and I've heard they do that. They have undercover agents that will approach these kids just to see if they get rumors, if they have reason to believe. Yeah, if they have rumors to believe a certain program or a certain area is being, they will do that and see if they can expose it. So I think that,
and if they find it, what happens? Like the kid gets in trouble, or
I don't know. I don't know. We don't hear enough about it. I don't know.
It's just so tough. I mean, now that it just goes back to the money. There's so much money involved, and it's so easy to do. I mean, you watch these commercials and they talk about how, you can get in for like $5 or whatever they say. I don't know, but it seems like there has to be some more barriers in place so this doesn't happen, especially people whose brains are not fully developed yet.
Well, that's right. Well, getting back to the news, does it bother you when the news can no longer be reported without bias or without concern? It's bizarre to me to see how, especially the access media has just deteriorated.
What I advise people to do is anytime something happens is read many different sources. Many different sources about the same thing, and different types of media also. Don't just TV. Look and see. There's still some good papers around. Look and see what they're saying about this, to try to figure out what's really going on, because I think that's just smart anyway. Don't just depend on one source. Always look at several and see what's happening, and you'll get different aspects from different ones. And the more you start to follow, you'll have certain people that you trust, and that's always great. And also, if you're varied, if you're watching different things, it's interesting about this whole issue because so many people say, they don't trust national media, but a lot of them, they have like there's their local guy or their local, they trust them. And so I think that's good. You have to find people like that over time. Watch over time. Is this person, coming out right over the course of time? And if they mess up, because people are human, inevitably people will get something wrong. How does it handled? How does it just say, you know what? And I remember the radio station I was working for down here. If some stations try to hide mistakes, they will put it or in the newspaper, just a tiny little item where very few people see it. But this one, if let's say there was a mistake made, we're at 7:08. There was a mistake made at 7 o'clock newscast. The next day during the 7 o'clock newscast, because they think the same people are probably listening, they'll say, "You heard such and such. We've learned this," and usually it can be the most. It could be the most minor thing, but they still. And I'm not talking about big things, but they say, we said this and it was actually this. We regret the error or whatever. And as a reporter, you hate that. Like you hate because sometimes it's not even always the anchor's fault, because sometimes somebody gave you something and said, and you were trusting them and you went with what they said. But they were big on that. So I would say also watch that when they do make a mistake. How do they handle it? And I'm just talking about an honest mistake. I'm not talking about someone trying to lead people down the wrong path. But how do they handle it? Look for the people they're talking to. Also, the sources, are they representative of what's going on? And maybe look into those people's background. Because if you've ever been watching TV and you saw someone up there and they were just saying something that sounded a little off to you or a little out there, and so do some research, find out about that person. Where do they come from? What is their background? By their background, I just mean like, what are they known for? That type of thing. And then it might make more sense to you why they would be saying a particular thing. And you mentioned, I don't know what's going to happen with the Vrabel situation.
A woman lost her job. Yeah, she was a reporter.
She resigned, and when this whole thing first came out, she was she made. Well, I think she saw the writing on the wall. I don't know if she was forced to resign, but she knew they were investigating, and she knew there was other things to find. Right? We now see.
Yeah, it keeps coming out. It keeps coming out.
Yeah, and when it first happened, though, and these pictures first came out, it's like some of them, like especially like the hug picture, I was like, well, I was thinking. I hug people all the time. I didn't, but the other pictures, some of them looked though a little more like, if that were my husband, I have a lot of questions, I have a lot of questions. And then, the other photos came out. So maybe it looks like this thing has been going on for a while. And
6 years.
Yeah. And so I feel for the people who are not famous, the family. I feel for Rossini has young kids. I think they're like 6 and 4. And
Vrabel,
Vrabel, his kids are grown. I mean, I still feel for them, but it's a little bit different than being, underage. But this
look how much trouble your football coach gets. I mean, he's not cheating on anybody. He's not.
They are both consenting adults.
A ridiculous relationship, but still, look how much criticism and national attention.
He faced a lot of criticism, yes, and he's still facing it.
So are Patriots fans just going to go, it's no big deal?
Well,
go ahead.
You know what? I read an article that talked about the reason I think that people have been saying it's a no big deal is because he went to the Super Bowl last year. He's a winner. Now, if they had been in,
6-11 or something,
then it would be a big deal. And oh my goodness, he's got to go. It would be it's a distraction. But see, in sports, sometimes, unfortunately, winning covers so many things. As long as you win. So like with the Belichick situation, if Carolina had topped the ACC last year and Jordan was still there, people would laugh about it.
Just let it go.
But it wouldn't be a big deal, right?
Probably so.
Wouldn't be a big deal. So
I can't say that's wrong at all. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's right, but it's just when your coach is winning, you let a lot of things slide that might bother you if your coach wasn't winning, right?
Yeah, winning cures all, even immoral activity.
And now he's going for counseling, so I don't know what that's about. Or I don't know.
Yeah, he showed up yesterday at the Patriots, big old smile on his face, and somebody asked him, he just kind of winked. I mean, the guy is just, it's unbelievable.
I don't know. Like, it's just, it's a bad situation. And I don't know what's going to come of it. There's been a lot of things, maybe not of that nature, but other things where we've had these insiders who've done things that have been questionable, maybe not of like possible romantic relationship, but we're called into question the relationship between them and a sports figure. I mean, we've had someone sent like a fully written story to a sort. Can you check this and tell me if it's okay? Like, that's just not generally done. I mean, usually what you do is you call somebody and say, mention an aspect of, is this fair to say? Is this how you would characterize this? But you don't share your whole story. So I only point that out because it's not just a, romantic thing. There, these relationships are being called into question. And what is the difference between a insider and just a standard reporter? And it's a lot. I was going to say there's a lot of things going on that probably should be more closely examined. And as far as what happens with her career, I don't know.
I miss Walter Cronkite.
Well, it would be nice to kind of go back to those days. I don't know what's going to happen with her or what should happen. I think it was right that they said to her employer when this first came out, they called her and asked her what happened. What tell us. And that's why they issued that statement in support, because she said this was ridiculous. There were a whole bunch of people there. We've noticed that none of those people have stepped forward to say, I was there with them. Because if that's your friend, Rick, if that's your friend and you were there, you would come out, right? You would make a statement. You would say, hey, I was with them.
Yeah.
I just don't like to be photographed. I was just,
Correct.
Or maybe you show some proof you were there, because maybe something hasn't come out that you would have. And no one's come forward to say they were there.
Yeah.
So
a little sketchy.
Sketchy. Like if that was your wife, you would be concerned, right?
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah. You were with him where, for how long? Really?
So.
Yeah. Well, listen, have fun this morning. I know you will.
I will. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I appreciate you being so understanding. I am sorry, but it was just this morning was absolutely bananas here.
No, I understand. Well, have a great time. Give her our best. Tell her we said congratulations.
I will. She'll be so excited. She may be listening. Well, they're probably there now, but she'll be excited.
Well,
to know that you care.
You and the fam keeping it rolling.
Okay.
Great. There you go.
Thanks, Rick.
Right. Have fun. Be good.
Okay.
Be safe.
Thank you.
Right.
You too. Bye-bye.
Right. Marvin Mamie. That's awesome. How about that? Not surprised at all, given her wonderful, wonderful mom. Correct. Tebow, 100%. That's the problem these days. People just shrug things off. Yeah. Who are we to judge? Just let it happen. No, there needs to be. Yeah. Correct. Not enough repercussions for the type of behavior that used to be deemed as unacceptable. Now, insiders have had questionable ethics since going back to Ahmad Rashad and Jordan Day. Yeah, Ahmad Rashad. I know, watching her kids grow up with the show, it's great. She's got an honors child. That's awesome. Well, appreciate her taking the time to jump on. Got all that going on. She could have easily just said, hey, this is happening. I would have completely understood. But she loves you, the listening audience, so much. She wanted to come. And she had some great takes there. The gambling thing does concern me a lot, a whole lot. And I think it's kind of being played off a little bit. And I believe that's because people understand how rampant it is. I really do. They don't want to blow the lid off of it because it's making too much money. There's Brian Siegler. Speaking of making just way too much money, it's Brian Siegel from the Boundary Corner Podcast. What's up?
Need to let my wife know about that.
How you been, man?
Doing well. How you been, Rick?
Well, we're meandering along. This weather's crazy, right? We had a thunderstorm this morning. We had rain right now out here in Reiner. So, yeah.
A little chillier start than we had last week or so, but
how did the post spring game pod go?
It went well. We had some a couple technical difficulties with some of the call-in aspects, but everything else went pretty well. We had I think we had about a dozen folks jump on with us off and on, and
good.
Yeah, some of them that were there live, some of them that were just kind of giving their takes on the general vibes that they've gotten from the weekend. So I mean, it was a good show. Really enjoyed everybody that was able to jump on with us. I think just overall people feel pretty good about where things are sitting right now. Obviously some big news, happened last week after we went live, but it's that's something to monitor as well.
Yeah, what is your vibe now? You're so close to it all. I mean, you're going to have a new president, new athletic director. They changed the major, give. What do you call that? I guess the fundraiser, the guy who had the gift asker, whatever, from the Hockey Club. They moved the guy into that. They got rid of the deputy. What do you think? What are you excited about these changes, or are you kind of proceeding with caution? Because it all has to kind of be right. And you can't hire the AD until the president's hired. So that's the next big hire. And how much is the governor going to get involved? There's a lot of questions surrounding all that right now.
I think I'm approaching this the same way I approached James Franklin, not only his hire, but also kind of what my expectations are for the season. And that's cautiously optimistic. I think that's kind of the big vibe for me right now with this, is cautiously optimistic. And I'm looking at this through the lens of someone that cares about Virginia Tech full stop, but also someone that is very invested, both in time and in money, in the success of the football program. And we have seen that success of the football program has had a direct impact on the success of the university as well. So I do feel like all of these moves and all of these changes and the timing of them are somewhat in service of getting the football program back where they need to be, because they know that that is the best long-term indicator of their overall health.
You don't know for sure. What's your best opinion about how this has affected Franklin's mindset, right? He talked about the alignment with everything. I find it hard to believe he thought this would be the time frame that he would have to be dealing with a new president and a new AD coming in. I think he'll have a large say on the new AD, probably too much of a say. But what do you think? How do you think this has affected him and his vibe right now in Blacksburg?
I'm fairly certain, with the way there was, a hiring committee, how Witt was really not involved in the day-to-day of the pursuit of James Franklin, that there was some degree of, he knew this was coming. I don't know if he knew it was coming, in April of 2026.
Yeah.
But I think there was a short timeline for which that he was going to be working with Whit Babcock as his athletic director. I don't know if there was anything in particular that pushed up that timeline, whether it's conversations that folks had outside of the university with some folks that may be interested in the position, whether the Sands domino resulted in this one. It's really, I think, unclear what precipitated Witt stepping down when he did. But at the same time, I think, when you get this opportunity, I think you're going to have, Franklin talks about alignment, and we look at the BOV, and you got Mehul back on the BOV. You got a lot of very athletics focused energy with the BOV right now. So I'm wondering if that's part of this process, and whether or not Franklin has a final say in, or an at-large say in who this is. I think it certainly is a BOV that's going to be friendly to the football program.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And you don't know how long his commitment's going to be here in Blacksburg. I keep hearing from people around the industry he's going to be a short timer. So you give him a lot of influence now. Was it really worth it in the long run? There's a lot of things you have to weigh here. Does this limit the athletic director's pool, in your opinion? Because they are probably not going to have much say with football as long as he's there as the head coach. And a lot of these guys are probably wanting to come to Virginia Tech because of the Virginia Tech football program.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting one. I mean, we've seen a couple of names floated out there. I think Chance Miller's been one that's been kind of bandied about, pretty heavily. I don't know if that's something that's going to come to fruition, but, previously linked with South Carolina, down at Coastal Carolina at the moment. So, someone that I've heard to keep an eye on, but Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic shapes up because, it's a new age of college football where like a lot of these football programs are outside of the larger purse book are essentially running themselves with GMs or presidents of operations and all these things. And I'm interested to see who they bring in. But I do think, like I said, I'm not sure if Franklin's going to have necessarily, he's going to go into a meeting and say, I want this guy, I want this guy. But I think it sounds like the folks still in the building have a plan as far as what that AD needs to do relative to football.
Agreed, 100%.
And so I think that's something that they are going to go into the hiring process. They're going to have that in their minds and understand we've got a plan this time. We're not just grabbing the first name that wants to come here, or we're not giving a hometown discount. I feel like one of the things I've been impressed with in the last year is that Virginia Tech is looking more like a big time program from an operational standpoint, from a administrative standpoint. And I'm hoping that trend continues with these next two hires.
I wouldn't expect the AD to be hired anytime soon. The president's got to be hired. Then the president's got to get comfortable with his role, his or her role. And then all of a sudden you can't just say, okay, well, now it's time to get an AD. I think they're going to have to vet a lot of different candidates. So I could see this dragging on for a while. What do you think? How long, what's your timetable in your mind, do you think, before a new AD will be named?
So Sands said his window was going to be about 6 months, which included, I think, some running in tandem time with whoever the expected hire is. Looking at that time frame, I think we get an AD maybe by the fall. It's really hard to say. It depends on how fast this president hire moves. And I haven't seen a ton of movement yet.
No, me either. I haven't heard anything about it.
I think that's the thing that if you get a president announced by end of May, then maybe you can have an AD by June, early July, maybe. But if that's backed up another month or so, I think you're talking about maybe the start of the season before you have an AD in the building.
Yeah, you're right. Isn't it kind of weird? I mean, I don't know how involved is the governor going to be in this. I don't know the answer. I've heard it's going to be a lot, right? So, but I haven't heard anything about the presidential hire. Not a word. So it's a little weird. Usually by now you'd have some names and so forth thrown around. But,
yeah, and I don't know if because of the lead time that Sands gave, whether they had less urgency, and maybe with Witt stepping down, that sense of urgency may have kicked into a little bit of a higher gear.
Yeah.
Because you've got some major vacancies that you need to resolve, and you can't resolve them until the president of the university is in place.
Right. I mean, people try to jump the gun with the whole idea. Oh, here's a candidate. Okay, but what does that mean? All right. So Tech didn't have anybody drafted, but they did have some of their guys signed as free agents. Question for you: were you surprised to see Kyron Drones get signed by the Packers?
I'm not surprised. I mean, when you look at some of the guys that the Packers have even brought in, I mean, they've had some quarterbacks that have been more of mobile threats. They've had guys that have been able to throw the ball deep down the field well, while also having some sort of running element to their game. Get brought in to be a backup. Get brought in to be kind of a depth piece on their roster before. So it doesn't shock me too much whether he'll stick or not. I mean, that's hard to say. He had some moments, but definitely struggled, with accuracy, with decision making at times. Like those were the two things that I think are problems. And we look at the next level. you need both of those things to be a successful quarterback. When you get to the NFL level, if you don't have accuracy and if you're not consistently getting the ball out on time and where it needs to be, you're not going to stick around. So it's going to be interesting to see how that stacks up. But I'm happy for him. I mean, I think that it's a big opportunity for him to get that shot. So I'm not going to say he can't go out there and make the most of it, because I think he's certainly a type of player that, when he puts the pieces together and when he's playing confidently, he's a very good quarterback.
And I would say, as athletic as he is, he could be a guy that you would think with his size, maybe he could move into a tight end role, right? So a lot of times guys change position. I know he's got a cannon for an arm. It wasn't always accurate, but he can throw, right? He's got a cannon. So I don't know. Maybe his just whole package was attractive enough to bring him in here, and let's just see what he's got, like you're saying. And if not, what about trying this and see if that can work?
And he's a little shorter than your typical tight end would be, but
he is.
A lot of what the NFL can do, if they're able to carry 2 or 3 tight ends, most of them are carrying about 3 tight ends on their roster. I mean, you're going to have a guy that's probably going to be more of a developmental type piece. And probably going to be somebody that you're working with to a large degree on the blocking aspects of the role, because they were either, a larger college wide receiver, or they were in a system that very much just used the tight end, split out wide away from the line of scrimmage. So there's always going to be some developmental aspects of one of those players on your roster. So if he ends up switching positions, I could see that kind of sticking for him. But we know the athleticism. We know that he's strong. Gets that running back mindset when he gets in the open field. So interested to see if they end up with a position switch there after his tryout. So yeah, it'll be something that we'll be following over at BCP.
Well, and of the guys, real quick, that did sign, who do you like? What guys do you think really have a chance to stick, those undrafted free agent guys?
I think Remack has probably the best.
That's what I was thinking.
He was the prospect that I thought had the best chance of getting drafted. So I think he's probably going to also have the best chance of sticking with the roster. You always need offensive linemen. You can have enough of them on an NFL roster just because of those limitations, but you want as many of them as you can get on an NFL roster. So I could definitely see him sticking there. Maybe outside of that, you look at Gilliam maybe sticking. I could see him making a roster. I think he's got kind of the good build, maybe a little undersized for what a lot of defenses like to do, but moves well, good leadership. So I think he's got some of the elements that you like on an NFL roster. So I could see him potentially sticking as well.
All right, brother. Good stuff. You guys doing a cast this week?
Nothing this week. Taking a little week off, hanging with the fams, and we'll circle back next week and hopefully maybe have some conversations we can kick around on a few new recruits and talk a little bit about what the folks up front and in Richmond are doing regarding Tim Sands and Whit Babcock.
Yeah, let's do that. That'd be fun. That'll be fun. All right, brother. Listen, have a great week, man. We'll see what develops. Heck, we didn't expect that last week, so who knows?
That's right. Who knows? I appreciate it, Rick. Always fun jumping on.
All right, brother. You too, man. Take care of yourself. There you go. Go check out the Boundary Corner podcast with Brian Siegel and company. They do a great job. Yep. Appreciate him. Good thoughts. Morris, what's up, Morris? President, AD, and head coach have to be in alignment. 100%. I saw this stuff yesterday, and people were, I think Matt Roan's a no-brainer, but is he going to be somebody they're going to consider now? No, because nobody's going to be considered now because there's no president in place. And who knows, who that's going to be and how quickly they get acclimated and when do they turn their attention to that. One thing Brian said, I think is definitely true, that everybody knows how important tech football is to recruiting students. look at the heyday of Coach Beamer. It's true everywhere. It's true everywhere. It's vitally important. So all those things have to go in conjunction with one another. They have to. Just like all of our wonderful sponsors, like Family Fencing, sponsor of our studio. 540-200-8294. McClellan Chiropractic, thanks to Mark Huntley, right off of Walters Drive. Go see Mark today. I've had several people tell me they've gone over there and their lives have changed. He's got all the modern equipment you could need. He doesn't even have to lay a hand on you anymore, man. They just put you in the machine and go. We're going to go. We're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Thanks to Jonathan Sweet, Tim Miller. The Sportsplex can be open in August. Good racing this weekend. I hear the crowd was really good. Something got around that people were trying to say nobody was there, but it was a really good crowd. I don't know why people were trying to say that. The crowds have been great. Track is being very well received. Great racing. Little River Heating and Air, Charles Lee, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. BDST fan question of the week. Tough. 701 West Main Street in Radford, Trust and Estate Planning. Maybe we centered it around Kyron Drones. If he sticks with the Packers, will it be as a quarterback or as a tight end or something else? National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST here on YouTube. Professional Door Incorporated, residential commercial garage doors, family owned and operated for 38 years. Thank you so much to Travis Williams. ReadySetFund.com with Bob Christ. ReadySetFund.com. Your organization, school, team, event, whatever it might be, you can raise money through a series of text messages. Email Bob if you have a question. The brother of Dave Christ, the legendary high school football Hall of Famer. BOBCRST11@gmail. Sundown Electric, our excellent reputation for satisfied clients, superior craftsmanship, attention to detail. The Smith brothers got it rolling. Clear communication. Reach out to them. They've turned into a regional place. The NRB Super Bowl, call them 540-382-5525. Terry Stike just had a birthday. Happy birthday, Terry. 25 years, part of our community here. We'll do our bash there here in about a month or so. 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg, where you can find Lawson's Mobile Home Supplies since 1987. Give James a call, 540-381-8011. And Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel up in Pulaski. If you want a T-shirt, hit me up. We will get you one. Mike Burnop scheduled to join us here around 8 as we roll along here. Important topics I think we're covering today. Stuff you don't want to talk about. I don't want to talk about gambling in sports, but then you can't just have rose-colored glasses on either, man. And Marva agreed, and I think this is going on so rampantly. I think everyone involved at the conferences is scared to death about, you can talk about pay for play and the money and all that, but I think they're scared to death about what is going on in the gambling world. Now, I can tell you, just here's what we know. Being at Radford, this is just, being at Radford, but we get reports from time to time from compliance. There is a group, there's agencies, one in particular that feeds monitoring betting activity. It's the group that about a year ago found a bunch of mid-major schools that had involvement, had kids from those schools using the app or faking their profile. How they do it, I don't know, but it's pretty effective. And it tells me that at least they're serious about trying to crack down on it. So we get a report from time to time. It's been a little while. It goes to our compliance director, who then will share it with the department. And they give you all these, incidents. And these are things that aren't even reported on, right? You don't even hear about it. But there was a list. The one list we had from just things that they deemed it was over like 150. And these are primarily mid-major violations, and they didn't have names attached to the play, but it was just like a student athlete here, athlete there, and I'm like, whoa, they found all this. But this doesn't get talked about. Would it be wrong to make a bet drones doesn't make it? Well, you're an adult that's not involved in game fixing or altering, so I think you're fine, Tebow. So, you got that list and you're looking at it, you're like, wow. So if it's going on like that, just what this group is finding, what does that tell you about how it's going on at the highest levels too? Because I know you don't hear a lot of, and you're not going to hear a lot of public criticism from levels of payment. In other words, if you got a quarterback that's making $2, $3 million, $4 million, and you are the right guard and you're getting money because, as Todd Grantham said, everybody who's on scholarships pretty much now universal, they're getting something in the pay for play era. Whatever that is, I don't know. But you don't hear them complain about the discrepancy. Something I brought up a long time ago when we started this show right out of the dreaded COVID was that I wonder how all this is going to affect team chemistry, because you're going to be looking at young people who are going to see other young people making a lot more than they are, even though they can rationalize in their mind that, hey, the quarterback of this team should be making more money than me. I'm just the punter, or I'm a special teams player, whatever. But you don't hear complaints because they don't want to rock the system. Well, maybe now they're channeling those things into, okay, I can make my money like this. Boom, here's a betting app. Boom, I'm involved in this game. Here's what I know. I have knowledge other people don't about injuries, about what's going on. I think I'll drop some money. It's one theory anyway. But it is, it's human nature to gamble. Let's just say it that way. I know people that I work with at Radford, when they go on vacation, they can't wait. If it involves that there's a casino close by or whatever it might be, can't wait to get in there and have, Jen, we're talking about going to Vegas, right? Now, Vegas is obviously known for that more than anything. But what are you looking forward to? Oh, I'm looking forward to playing some craps. Looking forward, it's human nature to gamble. It's what we do. Why is horse racing? Why was it so popular? Gambling. Boxing back in the 50s and stuff. Gambling. I mean, look how many of our sayings. Oh, I'd wager. I mean, betting is just, I'd lay odds on that one. I'd lay odds on that happening. I bet you that this won't happen. See, we always use the terminology we grew up with. It's just, so now it's supposed to be curtailed when they're so easily accessible with so many. Hey, boom, boom, boom. Hey, I just made a bet for $1,000. There you go. It took 7 seconds. I mean, I didn't, but I'm just saying. And now we're supposed to believe that because you're told not to, that, or we're going to pull back that when we said you could vote on, you could bet on pro sports, you can't do that anymore. That all of a sudden that's going to fix it. Is this the mindset they're rolling with? Just saying. Just saying. Like I said, it's every broadcast. ESPN didn't get enough grief from anyone over their stupid failed ESPN bet app that they were promoting. So, I mean, they were just so aggressively putting it out there. They had to pull it because they had so many complaints. Correct, Al. It's advertised everywhere. All you have to do is download the app. And those online betting apps don't sit there and target whether or not you're a student athlete at Radford or Tech or Virginia or William and Mary. You got money in your account, you place a bet, let's go. Right? How much of our sports is legitimate? I think it becomes less and less every year. I think a lot of what we see in the NFL is not legitimate. We know the NBA hasn't been. It's been dinged already. I'm sure it goes on, and even in hockey, you don't hear about it a lot in hockey. Baseball's had quite a few episodes recently. In baseball, it's easy. I mean, what was this? Pitchers. It's been pitchers, right? Intentionally throwing a ball, manipulating a count. That was the latest 2 arrests, right? Those 2 pitchers that were either grooving pitches to be driven or they were intentionally, yeah. It's human nature. Why do we trust it? You watch a guy in a college, you're watching a Tech game and they're driving late and they've got all the momentum and this guy's had a great game and he's got a little swing pass and it's lobbed out to him and I couldn't catch it. Yeah, he just couldn't come up with that one. I mean, I don't understand it, Bob. He's got sure hands most of the time, but that one, he would have walked into the end zone. You see that a lot. I don't know. But the Thorsby thing's not getting, I hope it gets enough attention paid to it. And I hope it sparks more conversation about what's going on. Look, if he generally has a problem, I hope he gets whatever he needs sorted out. So it doesn't ruin his life forever. But when I saw that, I'm like, wow. So here's a guy who was very comfortable. I'd say $6 million, you're very, very comfortable. And you still had to come forward and say, I can't stop. I got to get help. So anyway, just a thought. Just a thought. Anyway, let's see what happens with that. Let's see if there are specific games now that come out. That's what I'm curious about too. There has to be some reveal, right? I would think. If he comes into play as a guy who's going to want to talk about. I think the only shot he has now at any kind of career going forward is if he's just very honest about it. Now that he's done this, I hope he did it on his own because he really wants to get better. I don't know how much of this was potentially driven by the fact that it was inevitable that background checks were going to show that he was involved in this. I don't know. But I have to take that possibility seriously because of everything else. It just doesn't seem like human nature for a guy to throw $6 million away, right? So it was like something else was coming down. But maybe just generally he sat around going, you know what, I can't live like this anymore. He mentioned he placed thousands of bets in a short amount of time on everything. First of all, where's he getting the money to make thousands of bets? But it's before he signed his deal. I guess he's been doing it since he got his new money coming in. And maybe he does just say, I can't live like this, my life. And I hope that's the case, you know. If you make you cry that you need help and you go out and try to do something about it, that's the best sign of all. But I am jaded. You see what else is going on, how things are covered, and ulterior motives all the time. It's hard to look at anything with face value. I don't like being that way, but isn't that the way we are now today? Is that how you have to look at most things? Kind of with a side-eye glance a little bit? Is anything on the up and up? I think Tebow said it earlier. So many things now are shrugged off and not considered important that it's just so hard. It's just so hard to want. I mean, I just don't understand how we've gotten to that point. Betting issues were as predictable as the sun coming up. Yeah. And just adds another layer to my question about why would you still give money to any program? How do you know now that players, if you gave money and you have it and you want to do it, that's your choice. But what if you're giving money directly into pay for play and you find out those kids are throwing games? How are you going to know? It's just something else that throws into question. We've lost our morals completely. It's so accepted now that you can just be immoral in any way, shape, or form, but it doesn't matter as long as you fit the system or the current vibe that's going on. I agree with you 100%, Wayne. Everything's turned upside down. It's just so widely accepted now. It's just the way it is. What's up, Chris? How are you doing, man? So I don't know. We'll see. But I think it's a story that needs a lot more attention paid to it. And I hope it gets something. I hope we find out more from his story that he's going to be okay. I hope that's the case. But we'll see. But it does have to be a major concern. But it feels like a major scandal. The lid is about to blow off. And I don't know if it's going to be at the collegiate level or another professional scandal. We'll see. But for this guy who's got a $6 million contract, allegedly, I mean, I don't think Texas Tech said that. I think people were saying on the low end it was $4.5 million, but they feel like he got $6 million to go from Cincinnati there. I mean, that guy doesn't need to be gambling. So I have no doubt that he has a problem. But it's something I think you have to talk about. I think it's something you have to constantly monitor. And I think we'd be okay if we saw action on things. You wouldn't be happy about it. But if we had more reveals about what this investigation showed, I shared with you what we get privately in the department. It didn't make news, but we had a list last year because you had a lot of mid-majors who were getting dinged, athletes who aren't making the kind of money that they are at the P4 level. And there were about 150 incidents that were listed. Again, not by name or anything like that. And I'm just sitting there looking at this like, wow, this is and this was before we got the show started. Now, I'm just sitting there. This was last summer around June. And I was thinking, wow, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I don't know. There was no explanation as to how they were going to proceed to handle that. That was the other inside of it. Okay, so you discovered all this. What does that mean? Like, are you dealing just with the individual. I'm sure they had to let the school know. We would know. We would know. Someone just asked on the professional door text line. Yeah, we would get a notice, correct. If your institution is specifically involved, not, I'm going to say that wrong. Your institution wouldn't be involved, but if a representative from that athletic department of your institution is said to be involved in this, then yes, we would get knowledge of that, correct. Because it's not something that can be hidden. Coaches have to know, right? Teammates have to know, our administration, our president. Yeah, so we would find out. Someone just asked, as a Radford, I mean, not that we've been told specifically, no. No, I mean, we've never gotten that email. Does it mean that it hasn't happened or it's not happening? Absolutely not. It doesn't mean that at all. It just means we haven't been given that. But yeah, you making $6 million as a college player. How dumb can you be? NFL player, even Tiger driving drunk. Well, we're all humans. It's the only thing that I can look at all these things. We all make just horrible decisions at some point in our lives. One way or the other, we do something and we're just like, man, I shouldn't have done that. Right. Should not have done that. Should not have done that. We'll see. We'll see. So I guess that's the only answer I can give you, Morris. The failed creature that is a human being. Not that that makes it any better, but that's, because it all seems very illogical. I'm with you 100%. If you have it all and you never have to worry to want anything ever again, why would you put yourself in that position? Especially if you've worked your tail off your whole life, whether you're a college player that has now gotten to the point where they've earned $3 to $4 million to play college football, then they go to the NFL, right? You've already got money. Seems like you'd want to make sure you keep your distance at arm's length the whole time. It going in that direction. But Mike Vrabel has it all. Right? He's rich. He just took a team to the Super Bowl. He got retribution from his firing at Tennessee. 1 year, boom, he's in the Super Bowl. Now he got his lunch handed to him, but just saying. But what's he been doing and lying about for 6 years, right? And now it's out. I don't know how that affects him as a coach going forward. Right now, he's just acting like it's not going to bother anything at all. Lou Holtz in his speeches, life's not complicated. Do 3 things. Do the right thing. Do the best you can. Show people you care. Yeah. 100%. There's not nearly enough of any of that going on. But I think the points many of you have made in our McClellan chiropractic chat this morning are very salient. It's the acceptance of all this from the media perspective, from social media, which has fed a lot of this. Things that are wrong are no longer wrong. Things that should be morally questioned, just, hey, nobody, it just seems like somebody said it. The bad is good now. The good is the bad. If you have any kind of morals or anything, then you're judged more on that than if somebody goes out and commits armed robbery or something. And I'm not trying to pile on Sorsby at all. Again, his story, I think, just brings out more questions about what else is going on. I hope, again, he gets everything solved. Hope he can get this taken care of. And on the surface, it's a sign of real maturity that he put himself into rehabilitation, came forward with it, he and his representation, even after he signed this alleged $6 million deal with Texas. So he's trying to do the right thing. He admitted the bets that he had placed, how many, how frequent. His mindset, he talked about his mindset. So my first inclination is that he's legitimate here, trying to fix his life. And that, regardless of whatever money's involved, that's what you want, because this can lead to a dark, dark road. And you know what I'm getting to if you can't get it fixed. Oh, 100%. No, the media is turned into a complete sham. They're outliers. Yeah, access media in particular. Yeah, but it's very concerning, and I wish I had the answers, but I don't. But that's a story that I think it's going to continue to send a ripple throughout college athletics. But joining us now on the program, he always sends a ripple when he's on the program, but always in a positive way. It's Mike Burnup. What's going on, Mike? Thanks to Louise Baker, Team Long of Officer. Good morning.
Good morning, Rick. How are you today?
Doing all right, man. We're just talking about this Brent Sorsby admission yesterday, where he's, hey, man, I've placed thousands of bets. I got to get fixed. I'm going into rehab. He just signed a $6 million deal. This is one of the highest profile signees in the country, and it just gets me back into that mode, Mike, about this whole gambling thing, man. And I fear for how rampant this thing may be, if it can even get a guy like that who's got all the money he's ever going to need.
Yeah, and you wonder how much he's thrown away, right? Gambling.
100%.
And that's sad, because they could crack down on him hard. And what do they do? What does Texas Tech do? If they have no quarterback now.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine he skates free from this by just going into rehab. So, yeah, it's serious. I'm sure there's more and more of that than we'll ever know about. And, guys probably place bets through their posse or whatever. And you never know. It could be just more rampant than you think.
Well, I was telling people, we, even at Radford, remember the mid-major scandal that came out a couple of years ago? There are groups, there are agencies that are policing this all the time that were, implemented. And we got a list last summer. It had like 150 incidents of just, they don't tell you the person or the school, but they tell you this is what we found. And I'm looking at that, Mike, like, wow, this is just a small list of can you imagine what they're dealing with all the time, man? It's interesting. It's interesting.
Oh, yeah, I know. And think about basketball, Rick. It'd be so easy, right, to bet on teams and throw bets and miss shots. And you just hate to think that would ever happen, but it does. And when you only got 5, 6, 7 players playing, that could happen a lot, and it could happen easily. Some of these games you scratch your head about, and you just wonder what goes on behind the scenes. Yeah. But again, nature of the beast, it's all about the money. People making money on betting now, and it's like rampant, and it's not going to end. I mean, some of them are going to have betting sites on their field, right? I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. And what was college sports thinking when they had, hey, you know what, it got reneged, but they said, hey, you know what, you can go ahead and bet on whatever you want, as long as you don't bet on college sports. And then they were like, what's the hypocrisy? Oh yeah, we better take that back now. Now you can't bet anymore.
Yeah. And even the other way around too, when you think about, man, okay, we're healthy. We got this guy back and this guy back, and that team's banged up. I know the inside scoop on this one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're gonna bet on our team, and which is understandable, right? A lot of people probably would do that too.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's a mess. They created another one, that they can't seem to get out of their own way. And the almighty dollar, has a way.
Well, they're getting all proud of themselves too, the NCAA, because hey, they're about to finally approve this 5-year the play rule, which has made sense to everybody who's watched the sport. But they're going to take credit for completely just fixing that issue, right? But it looks like that's finally going to happen. Now, I will say it is a good thing, right? Because it looks like all these 6, 7, 8 years of eligibility are finally going to end. So.
Yeah, no kidding. Like the Chandler Morrises of the world up at UVA, however old he was, 26 years old, still playing college football. I mean, it's just not good. I mean, it's bad. You feel bad for the freshmen in high school coming out and thinking they got an opportunity, and all these guys that are older that should be in the NFL or in the workforce are out there still playing the college football game, and you're taking spots up for them and missing their opportunities to have a chance to play. And so, yeah, I think it is a good rule. Hope it passes and stays. They force it, and there's no ifs, ands, and buts. And it cuts out all this moving around and that crap that you see now. I mean, every year you see time and time again. It's like year 3, guy's in his 3rd program. Year 4, he's in his 4th. I mean, come on. Like, where's the loyalty out there? If there isn't, the loyalty's in the greenback.
Yeah, that's it. And that's all that the loyalty
money.
Yeah. Well, following that up, which I think is going to be approved, that one should be okay. I wouldn't think there'd be any litigation. I don't think too many people with common sense will argue that one. But now comes the attention to, is there going to be anything that makes you commit to a school for at least 2 years, right? That'll be the next focus, I'm guessing. And I don't see that one being as easy to solve.
Probably not. Yeah, it probably won't. But again, it depends on what the rules are. Is like how many places can you go to over a span of 5 years? I think that's certainly important. But yeah, you never know. I mean, it's anything is better than the system we got now, right? So
yes,
anything is an improvement. Hopefully that'll be the case, and it'll cut out some of this other crap and maybe get back to a more usable, more sensible system.
Well, I hope so. But it is a concern. I was reading that article going, wow, that guy, thousands of bets in like a week. Yeah, you got a problem. You may have a problem.
Yeah. That certainly would fall into that category, right? You wake up in the morning and you place 7 bets.
Right. That's what he was doing. Rolling over on his phone. And, okay. Ooh, this looks great. I mean, he said one morning he didn't get out of bed. He bet 200 times. He had 200 bets placed before he even got out of bed. So, yeah.
I mean, just think about how easy it is to do it and how they make it so easy for you to do it. I mean, I get emails every day, sign up. Hey, get this, you get free bets, free this, free that.
Me too.
That's incredible. I mean, if you ever went down that road, you can see how easy it would be to get started. And then once you get locked in, that's when it gets tough, man, especially when you're losing, because it's just like those casinos. They're not glitzy and glamoury for no reason, right? They're making money and they're making money off of you.
Yes. Hey, anything happened in Blacksburg since we last talked?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's been a little bit of a whirlwind over there for sure. And not sure where it's going to stop, but hopefully they'll get it panned out. I just wonder what goes through James Franklin's mind when he always talked about the alignments,
Yes.
Alignment of the president, alignment of the AD, everything's in place. And now all of a sudden the president's stepping down and be here till he finds a successor. So he's still going to be here for a while. I saw Dr. Sands Saturday night at a function, and he seemed very relaxed and okay with the decision. He says, I'll be able to relax a little bit more and enjoy life a little bit more. And he said, it's been a grind. And he talked about, I asked him, I said, you going to get to tailgate now? And he said, yeah, I'm actually going to do a little tailgating. So it was fun to catch up with him. He's such a nice guy. And, all the politics aside, but then Witt, the situation with Witt also resigning or going to be an emeritus AD till 2029 or something. So yeah, it's a whole new world over there. It's like years and years and years ago when I always kept telling people, when Frank Beamer was getting near the end of the line, it was like, that thing's going to change over there. Jim Weaver's going to be retiring as the AD. And I said, Frank Beamer won't be the head coach and Lou Mayer won't be at the head of the Hokie Club. I mean, it's just a matter of time. And then now it's kind of another cycle coming through.
100%. As Mike Burnett joins us on the program, thanks to Louise Baker, Team Long and Foster. And I wanted to ask you about that because I've been asking that question a lot. People seem to assume that Franklin probably had some heads up, but I don't think he did, at least not in this timetable, because he just made that statement about the alignment. All of a sudden, President Sands is gone, and now here comes Whit Babcock. Although he, may not have been dealing with football as closely, there's his AD. I'm not sure. I'm not sure he expected it at least this soon since he got entrenched as the head coach.
I don't know. The more that I'm around him and hear him talk and stuff, I think he's pretty connected to what's happening. And I think he has quite a bit of input into what's going on, not only in football, but some of the other things too that affect football. And so I think he's pretty well connected with the Board of Visitors and, the people that he answered to. So I'm not so sure that he wasn't aware of some of these things coming down the pipe, but I don't know that for a fact.
Right. Well, and maybe that's why he said that. Maybe he kind of knew, right? Maybe he knew these openings were going to happen. So let's make sure that when we bring the new people in, we get that right. Have you heard any? I have a lot of people asking me. I'll ask you. Have you heard anything about a timetable for the new the president or anything like that?
Well, just hearing from people that know John Rakovich pretty well, he wants to make it happen sooner than later in terms of the president. So I think that process will speed up and move along. I don't think it'll take as long as it did when Dr. Sands was here, but we'll see. I know there's, the timeline. I know the governor got involved with appointing the people to the Board of Visitors. I know that was something that they were concerned about, and they were going to try to speed up the process. But again, I don't know how all that works in terms of time and, when the new system takes over or when the new budget is or all that sort of stuff. So I just know that John Rakovich is a mover and a shaker. He's a guy that doesn't waste a lot of time. He made the comment, I don't have a lot of time left. I'm getting old. I'm going to get this thing done. And so I suspect that that's what will happen.
And then after that, obviously, after the new president starts to get their feet wet a little bit and they're getting everything sorted out, time to turn our attention to the athletic director. So that'll have to come afterwards. But maybe if that happens, like you're saying, the president gets hired sooner, that the AD will be hired a lot sooner. That's the plan, I'm sure, anyway.
Yeah, I think so. And I think in this day and age, you got to have that. You got to have that piece to the puzzle in there, especially in terms of the way football is rolling along right now and the momentum that they have. And so, I think that's going to be important to get that done. And whatever they decide to do, have a general manager. I mean, they obviously got funds they need to raise for NIL and all that sort of stuff, the rev share. And I mean, it's a constant battle, and they need to have people in place to get the thing done. I mean, it's not going to go backwards, right? You're still going to have to raise a ton of money, and you got to do it every year.
And I'm sure that's going to go a lot into the new hire, right? I mean, this new AD is going to come in and be tasked with, hey, you're basically going to be a massive fundraiser for us too. That position across the country is being hired for that being one of the main criteria. So, like you said, to continue that mission is going to be very important for the new person.
Yeah, and they got a search now on nationwide search now for the hockey club director. So, that's something that's going to be important as well. They got to continue to raise funds, and tuition's going up, and scholarships are costing more money, and the out of states are more expensive. And I know that's something they're working on too, to try to get these kids that are athletes not to have to pay out of state tuition. To me, that's kind of just robbing Peter to pay Paul. You're spending the money to bring them in, but you're giving them a scholarship. Well, why not make them all like in-state kids? So that's another thing that it costs a lot more money. And so, it's just a never-ending process.
Yeah, that's a great point you make. Yeah. Well, one thing about it, change had to happen, right? The way things were happening, or if you're just going to focus on football, at least, these kind of things can't be a bad thing. The main thing has already happened with James Franklin as the head coach, and now these other things, like you said, the alignment, hopefully that happens. We'll see. It never goes as smoothly as you hope, but maybe in this case, maybe it will. Maybe there's enough of an understanding, like you said, with Rakovich just over there with a linear focus, that has to help now, because it sounds like, Mike, they've identified where they've gone wrong over recent years, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I think they understand, and they understand that how important football is, and it's the bell cow. I mean, it supports everything else. I mean, men's basketball makes probably a little bit of money. I'm not sure that the other sports do. Maybe women's make some, but I know they have a pretty big budget in terms of travel and all that sort of stuff too. But football is the bell cow, man. You got to do well. you got to fill the stadium. You got to sell tickets. You got to sell concessions, and you got to get eyeballs on your games on TV because that's where some of that money comes from. I mean, look how much money the Big Ten got this year, and just in terms of winning those championships. I mean, it's staggering to think the gap between that and what the ACC got. So that's why football's got to get better. They understand that. They know that. They've invested in it. And now they're going to try to reap the benefits from hiring a guy like James Franklin, who's a proven program builder and did a great job recruiting, got a great class here and worked the portal very nicely. And I think he's got a chance to have a really good year next year.
And I think, along with what you said, Mike, no doubt that people now, even if they're not connected to Tech, will want to watch their games more because he is the head coach, right?
Yeah.
I think that goes hand in hand. James Franklin's the coach at Tech. Oh, okay, well, let's watch them play. As opposed, maybe they weren't going to do that because Tech had not had good seasons and they didn't have a coach that's nationally known like James Franklin. So that's only going to help, I think, in that regard.
I agree. And then getting off to a good start will certainly help. The more games you win early, the more eyeballs you get and a better chance you get to get better TV slots on games. And some of these things haven't been decided yet in terms of Friday, Saturday, that type of stuff. But yeah, it's going to be important to get eyeballs, and it's going to be important to be relevant, win, and be on the better networks to get more eyeballs instead of the CW and the ACC network and all those sorts of things. You know, you need to get on the national stage, and James Franklin's the guy that can do it. People will be curious to what he's all about, what he's done, the chip on his shoulder, which is huge, and all those sorts of things. It could be a more wide open offense, a more pressure defense, and I think it's got a chance to be something really, really special.
Yeah, I agree. And people, college football fans, whether they're Tech fans or not, are going to know that Blacksburg at one point was one of the central figures of the sport. Frank Beamer's not going away. Michael Vick's not going away. Those teams are going to be remembered. So Blacksburg, the whole aura with that, yeah, I think they're going to be a much more attractive TV draw. No question.
Yeah. I mean, you see all the time, and these things on X and all that sort of stuff, just going back and looking at the entrance to Lane Stadium and the crowds that they've had in the past and Metallica and all that sort of stuff. That's all great pub. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be good. You know, they got to win. Obviously, that's something that they have to do, and they understand that. But they've got the team and the players and the talent to do it. You just worry about that schedule a little bit because, again, you know, the ACC didn't do them any favors with the away schedule with those terms of going from Boston to Miami to California to SMU to Clemson. I mean, you couldn't travel any farther, that's for sure. So
Mike, Tech had several guys taken as undrafted free agents, Kyron Drones being one of those with Green Bay. I mean, I'm happy he's going to get the opportunity. What do you think about that? Do you think he's got a chance that's going to maybe parlay itself into developing as a quarterback, or is he, you know, he's gifted physically. We know that. Maybe he could develop into something else, maybe a tight end or something.
Possible. We saw that obviously with Logan Thomas. Yeah, I mean, I think it's great for him. I mean, he is a really, really talented athlete.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy is big, fast, strong, tough as nails. Didn't want to come out of games when he was hurt and banged up. And, you know, maybe he wasn't the greatest passer across the middle and all those sorts of things, but, you know, he'll get great coaching and maybe he'll get a shot. You know, every team is different depending on what their need is, but he could certainly help a team. You know, it's interesting, Rick, that not one player off of one team in the state of Virginia got drafted.
I know.
I mean, think about that. When was the last time that ever happened?
I don't know. That blew me away. The Virginia thing, since they had, you know, I mean, they won 11 games.
Yeah.
They didn't have
nobody drafted.
And nobody drafted any of them. That was odd. That was odd.
Yeah. But I think all those kids that were on the list for Virginia Tech, you know, I think all of them are getting a tryout or invited to camp. So that's good to see, you know, Kelvin Gilliam and Ben Bell and all those guys. You know, I think it's great that they get a shot. You know, sometimes it's better if you don't get drafted. You know, maybe you get into a better situation that maybe they have a need and you can go in there and impress somebody. You have no pressure on you. And maybe that's something good. So some of these guys will make it. You just don't know who. A lot of it depends on a little bit. You got to get a little bit lucky. And you got to have these teams that maybe somebody in front of you gets hurt and you get the practice squad, and that's how you start out. So
Yeah.
it'll work out for some of them, but it's good to see. It's just I think next year that's going to change with that draft pick, though. I think there'll be a few that get drafted next year for sure.
Yeah. I have a feeling that's not going to happen anymore to Tech.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah,
I don't think you're going to see them shut out in draft days any longer going forward.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, so what are you going to be doing now? By the way, a lot of questions. Morris says, Mike, about New River Office Supply. Hey, I ordered a bunch of stuff for your business when I was there as well. Great store.
I appreciate that. We're heading to Richmond tomorrow to get that award, so that'll be fun. Got to be up there. It starts at 11. Yeah, they had over 200 applications. I saw 200 nominations, and they decided on 10 awards, and we were one of them. So yeah, we're happy about that, and thankful to all the great customers we have. We had our customer appreciation show last week, and it was great. Had a lot of people stop by. And just fun. We appreciate all the business over the years. Louise was a big part of that way back in the day too.
Yeah,
she was been a great customer through the years, and gosh, you go back to when she was in town first and had a real estate office and Owens and Company. And I mean, you go back a long way with Louise. She's awesome.
Yes, absolutely, she is. Well, so are you. And I tell you what, we said it last week, but to be in business, you're going to be going 5 decades almost, 4.5. I mean, that it just says a lot about you and that business that you've been able to do that for that long, man. That's very impressive. People can't do anything for a day anymore, much less for as long as you've kept New River Office Supply going on. So,
well, I know it's something. That's like Coach Beamer always said, right? Man, that's a lot of fourth quarters ago.
That's right.
1979, man. That's a long time ago. Rick Watson wasn't even born. Ricardo Watson.
No, I was around. I was around at 79. Man, you're right. That is a lot of fourth quarters, isn't it? Wow. You're right. Wow. Well, congratulations on all that, man. Great stuff as always, and we appreciate you as always. And we'll just keep our ear to the ground about what's going to be happening next in Blacksburg. So
yeah, the Hokie Club Trail starts next week, so that'll be interesting to see how well attended those are. So it should be fun, and yeah, we'll catch up with you again next week, Rick.
All right, brother. You take care of yourself. Stay safe, man.
All right, sounds good. Thanks,
Congrats
Louise.
again.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Louise, and have fun, man, at the award. You've earned it.
We'll do it.
All right, brother. Take care. That's great, Mike Burnham. Almost 5 decades running a business, man. That shows you a lot about Mike too. He's great. Congratulations to him. That is an award well deserved. And to have 200 nominees and you're one of the 10 that get it, that's pretty darn good. Good stuff. Thanks to everybody. Good stuff in the chat as always. Yeah, thanks for everybody who's in green, man. Wayne's explaining the green. The green means you contribute a little bit you sign up for this little thing that they do. I haven't figured all of it out yet. YouTube's going through a lot of adjustments right now. So we might parlay this into at some point doing a dual thing with Rumble as well. We'll see. We'll let you know. Now, we won't leave YouTube, but we might be advancing the program a little bit. We'll see. We do have a couple big announcements on the horizon. I'm going to hold off on those. Not that they're in danger of not happening, but I'm going to wait a little while longer that I'm excited about before we announce those here on the program. And thanks to all of our great sponsors, and thanks to you in chat. It's always a good start to every day coming in and hanging with everybody and all of our great guests. Marva, congratulations, Marva. I know you're at your daughter's program this morning. Her daughter gets an honors certificate today. Congratulations, as she should. Marva's just one of the most genuine, decent human beings I've ever known. Marva in Miami. She really is. I'm so fortunate. I got cross paths with her many years ago, back in 2001, starting on the radio station. And never met her. Ron Walton, God rest his soul, the best boss I've ever had in my life. brought all these people in together. This was his vision of the stations here in the NRV. And I was the sports guy. She was the news gal. And so fortunate. So fortunate. I like that too, Wayne. Pay for say. I don't get much pay for say, but yeah, thank you. I'm like the third string guard. I'm like the long snapper. Yeah, I'm not a quarterback. I'm not in that, or a top running back. No. But I'm not surprised to see Marva's daughter, who looks just like her, by the way, having so much success academically. Great role model in that woman, Marva in Miami. But good conversation today. Sometimes you wake up and you see all these things happen. Some things you don't want to talk about. I hate the whole gambling thing. But it's reality. You can't run away from it. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean you can ignore it. And we're all here for sports. Long snapper. We have another shake here. I was a center. I wasn't very good. I wasn't very good at long snapping, though. What's up, Brandon? Everyone's getting a little something, Rick. This is like Todd said about players now. Yeah, how about that reveal? Anybody who's on scholarship, he said, pretty much across the country is getting something. Talking about pay for play. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I don't know. Time frame sounds about right. If new president comes quickly, the AD, I don't think it will take too long. They'll vet people. New president's got to be the one, though. It's got to be involved. They're not going to bring in somebody that they're not associated with. Yeah. Yeah, REMAC, Chris, is what, yeah, that's what Brian Siegler said, too. REMAC's probably his one choice to stick. I can see Gilliam sticking. Rotational. You never have enough rotational depth at interior defensive lineman, man. I mean, NFL, it's to the point now you rotate 5, 6, 7 guys, right? So why not? Why not? But some of those programs that didn't have players drafted really surprised me. Wisconsin, that blows me away. North Carolina, well, maybe not. But what Mike said is right. Not one player from the Commonwealth got drafted at any school, from any school. That won't be the case going forward, I don't believe. But what it represents is just, the fickle nature of the industry, guys moving from left to right. You don't get credit for being at a school. I know I made that post up on Facebook. It's amazing how many people are trying to say that Mansour Delane's a Hokie. And you might feel that way. I get it. Look, I feel that way about Carlik Jones. Radford developed him. We had him for, 3 full seasons. But when you look and see it, his last college affiliation, Louisville. No, he's a Highlander. He's ours. So I understand why you'd want to claim Delane, but that's not factual. That's not how it works. But, yeah, you're going to see more of that, though. You can see guys go from one school to the other. And they could be at a school for 3 years. I guess now in football, if the 5-year thing goes, you can be at a school, 4 years, play 3 years, and then boom, in you go. And then that last year, whoever you get taken from, that last year where you played, that's what they tell you. That's what they recognize. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Who is that? The savior of Virginia Tech football. Mansour Delane. Tomorrow, the Hump Day Wednesday edition, we'll have Keon Brown. I've been waiting. He went and saw the Michael Jackson biopic that I really want to see, and I want to get his. I want to get his reveal. I haven't talked about it. What I love too is it made a lot of money, and the critics hate it. It shows you how worthless movie critics are. They're citing it doesn't cover the controversial parts of his life and all that. Well, why can't we just have a movie that makes you feel good? Why can't we have a movie that celebrates who I feel is the greatest entertainer we've ever had in this world? I'm not saying he's the greatest musician, but he is probably the greatest pure entertainer that's ever lived. And why can't we celebrate everything about that life? The guy who played Joe Jackson looks just like, it's crazy. It's crazy. And the fact that it's a family member playing him who can move like him, he looks like it's. And this was a movie, by the way, the critics knew far and ahead of time. This is a movie that the family wanted out. They approved of it. They weren't going to sit there and have all these allegations part of this. They had the factual parts. They had the part where he gets his head burned, which I think kind of put him in a different mindset going forward the rest of his life. All right? The things that the father pushed him into, and then how he took over the world. I don't want to go see it. I don't want to see all that rehashed, People are going to have their opinions one way or the other, but I think his rise and his talent and his undeniable path is pretty cool. And I don't know about you, but I drive down the road and I've got all my music here. I bet you I hear 7 or 8 Michael Jackson songs in the rotation every week, and I love them all, whether it was with the Jackson 5 or that is endearing, right? Yeah, there you go, Chris. He did. He brought a lot of joy. His journey is fascinating to me. That story is told directly, and that it ends in a high note right during his career. Didn't cover it, so now the critics are panning it. These critics. Why does it have to be something of controversy? Why does it? Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. We'll let Keon finish this tomorrow. Everybody take care. Stay dry. Stay warm. It's chilly. It's rainy. It feels like a Monday on a Tuesday. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Thanks to Marva. Thanks to Brian. Thanks to Mike. Take care, everybody. We will see you tomorrow on the Wednesday edition. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for stopping by.